welcome to another episode of Popcorn Heroes.
Hi.
Hey, this episode we have a wonderful guest, Shanti.
Hi.
And by the way, I am your host, Pedro.
And I'm your guest host, the one who's married to Pedro.
Oh.
Ah.
This episode we will be reviewing The Addams Family, the 2019 CG remake. So, would you like to give us a summary, since I'm always the one that does a summary?
I guess.
Just do a quick summary.
I mean, if you don't know who the Addams Family is by now,
you live under a rock.
You clearly either were raised in a very, very different country with very conservative media or something, or you do live under a rock and were raised by wolves, which is something that would work well with the Addams Family. But pretty much it's a family that are strange,
creepy and
kooky. Imagine them like the first goth family to show up in the first goth family to show up in the 60s?
Yeah.
In show-wise, 60s?
Yeah, I don't know when the comic is from, but yeah, something like that.
Mm-hmm. The comic, I'm not sure, because they were a comic strip before, but then they turned it into a live-action show. Mm-hmm. And then after that, they made movies out of them. And now they have a CG version of it, too. So that's pretty much it. There's all of them have different differences within them, but it's essentially the same thing, and they pretty much keep pretty well to the lore of Addams Family. So sorry, I'm a little sniffly. Mm-hmm. But
so the summary is they're a creepy and kooky family.
Yeah,
and
they mean well, but they're kind of crazy.
But they always try to mix with regular society, quote unquote. Yeah, and it never works well because they always think they're bonkers.
Yeah, well, they think that everyone else is the weird ones.
Yes, which is always where the comedy comes in.
They always think that everyone else is strange and, that they're the normal ones.
Right,
so,
which is, yeah. But, okay, so let's start off with 1 out of 5s. What do you give it? And a quick reason why. I
give it a 4.
That means you really liked it.
I do like it.
Okay.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I liked it a lot. Mm-hmm. I think it was true to what it was. I liked that it was more, instead of it being more towards the movies, but more towards the show, which I like. I like both very much. I can't say that it's like, oh, I have a favorite or anything like that between them. I guess I like the show more just because it's the original to me.
Yes, I was going to say I was raised off of the movies, 90s version. So that to me is the ultimate. But you watched the show before you got to the movies, and you watched the show a lot before you got to the movies. So you have a whole other different look on it. Well,
I was raised with, my family raised me with a lot of
the TV Land stuff.
Yeah, TV Land. And 60s and 50s shows.
I Love Lucy, I Dream of Jeannie.
Yeah, that shit was like my childhood, even though I know it's like super before my time.
I'm old.
I know it, but it's still kind of like what I was raised with. So, the old school black and white Addams Family is what I know more.
And this film.
And this is a little bit more towards that. Mm-hmm. They do have things that they reference from the movies, but they reference the show a little bit more, I would say, than they do the movies. So, and I enjoyed it. And I think it's a good way to, because sometimes I feel like showing things that are different than the norm to kids is good too. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a good way to introduce your child to things that are also not the normal or the norm. Considering that obviously this was meant towards children, obviously, because it's more of a kid's movie than it is an adult movie. Because I know that the Addams Family movies, the ones that, the live action movies, they were kind of geared towards the whole family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like there were still some jokes there that were more for adults, and then some jokes that were for kids. But this one was definitely more for kids. It wasn't really for adults per se. So it definitely catered more towards kids. But I think it was fine. I think it was cute, and I liked it. And I liked the simplicity of it as well. It didn't try and create this whole new Addams Family. I don't know. They didn't try and create their own weird shit. They still kept to the tradition of Addams Family with its slight modern twist to it. But it wasn't enough for it to be like, this isn't my Addams Family, you know?
So you liked it.
So I liked it.
Good. I give it a 3 out of 5, actually. I liked it. I'll get into it more when we go into the spoilers, but I felt like it had way too many similarities to Hotel Transylvania, like plot-wise. I was like, ooh, been there, done that a bit. I do agree with you that it is a more lighter tone to the story than what I'm used to, because I'm used to the 90s ones, which like got into like more of the violence, more the BDSM, you know, that type of stuff, you know. Obviously this let that out, but they still had the darkness bleeding into it, the dark comedy, the fact that essentially they're all trying to kill each other in a very fun way. Yeah. Like, hey, on your toes, heads up, and you're about to chop someone's head off and stuff like that. So they did keep that, which I'm very surprised that they did. Looking at the trailers, they made it seem more like fart jokes. I don't know. I thought the marketing was really geared towards kids. Yeah. So I was pleasantly surprised when I watched the movie, and I'm like, oh, it's for both, you know? And yeah, you're right. It is geared more towards the fans of the show than the 90s movies, which is probably the reason why so many people were like, oh, it's not as dark. Yeah, but if you watch the old shows, you can see that that's where that is. So, but the only reason why I don't really like it is just because I felt like the territory they were going through had been done already. I actually really liked the message of the movie. But, you know, been there, done that, the whole isolation thing and stuff like that. Yeah, let's get right into some spoilers.
Okay.
All right, so right off the bat, this is the part that I'm talking about. So in Hotel Transylvania, essentially they get attacked by the humans, and the humans push them out, and they go hiding somewhere in their own little land, their own little section of territory where they're like, okay, here we are. We're all trapped in here. No one's going to venture outside because the humans hate us. You know, the kids will never see the outside. And in the plot of this movie, the kids are isolated. And that's one of the plot points, is that Wednesday Addams is trying to venture out, you know, and I'm like, this is exactly like Hotel Transylvania with the daughter and the father. So that part I didn't really care for, because, you know, obviously in the show and in the movies, they went out there whenever the fuck they wanted, and people would just go like, these niggas are weird. Like, they're weird as fuck. So it was just very strange that they added that part to it. I wasn't really feeling that. But I did like that I felt the movies focused too much on Wednesday more than the actual family. Probably Wednesday and the parents. They didn't really talk about Pugsley, because I guess he wasn't that interesting a character. But in this movie, it was pretty much Wednesday's and Pugsley's movie. It was about her trying to venture out and explore and see what the outside world is. And Pugsley pretty much, my dad's forcing me to be exactly like him, and I don't want to be like him. So I actually like the message of that, you know, your children are different than you. They can't be like carbon copies or whatever. And it was a lot about breaking the mold. That's what the whole movie is about. So I really like that message, that even the family being weird as they are, they had their flaws, where it was like, oh, you need to be our kind of weird, like with the swords and shit like that. You can't do like, oh, explosives. What is that, you weirdo? So
yeah. I mean, I didn't even think about Hotel Transylvania. You are right. It is pretty much similar.
At least Wednesday's part of the story.
No, yeah. I see it. I just never, when I was watching it, I didn't come to my mind. I don't know why, but you are correct, but I just didn't think about it. I guess I don't know what other. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, they had an episode that was pretty much kind of like that. Yeah. In the original, like, black and white. But instead of Wednesday, it was Pugsley.
Really?
he was pretty much like trying to do something different to see how he would, just to, you know, see if he would like it or anything like that. And he was doing things that would be considered normal.
But to them,
it was like horrible that they were doing it, that he was doing that. So it was kind of similar to that. And I think they did I don't know if it would be considered a reference to that, but because you know how she was talking to when Morticia in the movie was talking about how she was worried about Wednesday to her parents that are dead in the crystal ball.
Yeah.
And the parents were like, oh, you remember when you joined the Girl Scouts and, you know, we were so worried about you. So that's kind of what happens in the show. Pugsley joins the Boy Scouts. He joins the Boy Scouts and he brings fudge to the house, and both the kids like it. And he also brings a puppy. And the whole family is like, what in the world is wrong with you? Why are you bringing a puppy here? Why are you bringing fudge? Like, joining the Boy Scouts? That's crazy. Like, why would you do that? And they're just like completely confused, and the whole family's worried, and they even bring a therapist. Yeah, it's like a whole thing.
But they bring like a normal therapist.
A normal therapist,
so the therapist is probably like, yeah, he's fine.
Well, they actually, the therapist is seeing like all the things in the house, and he thinks that the things in the house are like the kids, so he's confused. He thinks that everything, they're like, oh my god, like you're spoiling him with all these things, like, you know what I mean? Anyway, but I think that that's another reference to the show that they did. But I still enjoyed it because, like I've mentioned, I don't know if I've mentioned it here before, but I've been talking about this lately, probably because, you know, since I work with production and stuff like that, or post-production, a lot of movies are always trying to do a twist to something, but they're just doing a twist for the sake of a twist, and changing something for the sake of changing it, not actually having any like background or like reason for the change.
You mean as far as changing like lore that's already created?
Lore or just anything at all. In this case, I like that it was simple.
Yeah.
Because sometimes that's all we want, bro. Like, we're not asking for Oscar nominated, you know, kid movie here. Like, it's not always gonna be that. And sometimes we just want something that's simple storytelling. Like, I get that sometimes you're gonna want something different and have a twist to it or have a modernization of what you had. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Exactly. I'm glad that they didn't do that here, because you were saying that you were surprised that they still had like some of the violence and stuff like that. And I'm just like, I'm glad they kept it, because honestly, you know, we watched Tom and Jerry.
Exactly what it reminded me of.
We watched all these other cartoons that were violent too. And, you know, nobody was like, it was very rare if you ever heard like a kid doing crazy stuff because of it. You know, it's not the case.
You know, there was a certain time when cartoons were like, oh wait, this has been violent the whole time, how dare you? And we were just kind of like, yeah, we were raised off that and we're fine.
Yeah, I think it's like, I think it's really just about the upbringing of the parent itself, not the TV.
Yeah, I'm glad they kept that, especially the part, one of the first parts where Gomez is fighting Pugsley. Actually Pugsley's trying to kill him with the rockets, essentially, and he's dodging them, and I'm like, oh wow, they're keeping it, you know. Sure, they made it Looney Tunes-ish. It was very like Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner, but the heart was still there.
I enjoyed that they still kept it, because it's who they are. It's what Addams Family was and is, so I'm glad they still kept that, you know, genuine Addams Family, and not try to change them to be this weirdness. The only thing that I did find interesting is, of course, they always, and when it comes to the Addams Family lore, they always reference, you know, magic or anything strange like that, like monsters or, you know, mutated family members.
Someone with 3 arms and stuff. They always get weird, right?
They always mention that, but they don't really show anything out of the normal. I found it very interesting that they made Morticia some strange spider queen or something.
Oh, yeah.
That was kind of strange to me, but
I did like how they gave her the walk where she was practically sliding across the floor.
yeah.
Like they stylized her walk to look creepy, you know? Like she'll sneak up on you.
I did like, I mean, that was fine because people always, you know, even in the show when you couldn't really do that kind of effect in the 60s, they still made her
They'll probably
creepy in her own way.
I feel like, because I didn't watch the show as much as you did, but I felt like there were some scenes where maybe they just put her on a roller and they just kind of rolled her across the screen.
No, she does like a little, she does like a little shuffle.
Ah, yeah. You're right. She does do the shuffle.
She does like a little shuffle because she can't really walk in that dress because it's literally so tight around her ankles.
How'd you feel about the voice acting cast? Because I know you were really excited for Oscar Isaac as Gomez, but I know you wanted him as a live action Gomez.
I did. He would have been perfect.
He would have.
He would have been perfect.
But voice acting wise, how'd you feel?
No, he was fine. He was good.
I like that he did kind of a nice mix between the two.
Yeah, I like that he gave love some to the 90s.
Well, Gomez. Right. He was like Raul Julia, you know, doing the Hispanic, obviously because his name is Gomez Addams.
Yeah. No, in the show, they always say that he's Spaniard.
You're right. You're right. But the guy always talks very like a commercial, like, hey, how you doing? You know.
Well, yeah. Back in the day.
Right.
Yeah.
So I felt like he did a very, like, the OG one is very upbeat. While Raul Julia is very like, I don't know, Spaniards. And he did like a nice mix of both, I think. Oscar Isaac did a nice mix of both. That's what I took it as.
I think that the 60s version of Gomez and the 90s version of Gomez are really not that different. The only difference to me is the accent.
Right. That's
it's
what
really the only thing. I think that they're very similar.
John Astin is the guy that plays the 1960s
John
version.
Astin. There we go. John Astin and Raul Julio are, to me, I think he did a great job pretending, doing Sean Astin's version, but with his accent, without taking his accent away, which I'm proud of because he was proud of his accent being Puerto Rican.
I was going to say, did you know that Raul Julio was Puerto Rican?
Yes, I did.
I did not know that. I just looked him up. He's
in
San
my people's.
Juan. I thought he was Spaniard.
No, he's my people's. I mean, he is Spaniard in a way.
Yeah, sure.
But no, he's Puerto Rican. Yeah, he's my peeps.
The more you know.
Mm-hmm. He always was proud of keeping his accent because even he spoke fluent English perfectly. He just had an accent, but he loved his accent because it represented his his background.
Oh, he's great.
And he kept it for all of his roles.
Even in Street
theater.
Fighter.
Yeah, Street Fighter. He
was Bison.
He kept it for when he did that Shakespeare with Meryl Streep. Yeah, he kept it there too. So he definitely...
He's kind of like Antonio Banderas. He keeps his accent just to
represent. It's just who he is. It's just what he talks like, and that's just what it is.
One of the voice acting in the characters in this movie that I really enjoyed, I loved Nick Kroll's impersonation of the OG Uncle Fester.
Yeah.
He sounded just like the 60s Uncle Fester.
Yeah, the 60s Uncle Fester that was definitely what they were referencing because the one from the 90s, I was always like confused on why he spoke that way.
Right.
I was just
he was played by Jackie Coogan.
So it was just kind of weird. I mean, it's fine, if he wasn't going to do the accent or maybe he couldn't do it that well. And they just kept his normal voice, which is fine.
I mean, Christopher Lloyd has a very voice. I sincerely doubt he can go, hi! There's no way in hell.
That's true.
They probably just got him because he was, in the 90s, he was very famous, straight off of fucking Back to the Future and stuff. And they were like, let's stick him in there. But I really like Nick Kroll's impersonation of the original one, which probably threw people off that were fans of the 90s. But you and me were like, this is awesome. He's just like it. They referenced the light bulb, like all the stuff. That's one thing I like too. They did a lot of the references where Gomez is upside down or he likes to get his head crushed, for the headaches and stuff.
Yeah, I like that.
So there's a lot of that.
I don't know why they changed the family around, like in the first place. I don't know. Like, I guess in the movies because of story they did that, but here they kept it the same, which is probably the only thing that I could like reference to the movie. That because in the 60s show, Uncle Fester is not Gomez Addams' brother.
Yeah, it says here in the 1960s, Fester is Morticia's maternal uncle. Yeah.
So it's very interesting.
And then everywhere else is Gomez's brother.
Yeah.
So it's a little weird.
It's a little weird. I don't know why. Like, I guess because in the movie they tried to do the whole like, oh, it's his long lost brother thing because he was
right.
And I guess if you wanted to like have that kind of,
like,
I suppose, but
for drama,
sure. But for this movie, I don't know why they kept it.
Yeah. They didn't really overtly reference it though. It was kind of just like an offhand comment. Like the fact
he did say brother.
Yeah?
Yeah, he did.
He
said brother. I was just like, oh, they kept him as his brother. And so that was kind of weird.
Oh, one of my favorite characters here.
And Mama.
Oh,
no, Mama, they did keep it here
for
being Gomez's mom.
Yes.
Was she still Gomez's mom in the movie? I can't remember.
I don't remember that either.
Or was she
I'm pretty sure she was Gomez's mom. Another media. Yeah, looks like it. It's about the same.
Okay.
I loved Wednesday Addams in this movie. I actually really liked the voice actress was good, which was a Hit Girl, Chloe Grace Moretz.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought she did great. She did a nice deadpan.
Yeah.
And I was really happy that they kept the whole morbid stuff.
And I like her jokes too.
Yeah. And whenever she did the cute shit, like remember she put like the the
little unicorn.
Unicorn. I took it more of like her trolling, rather than her actually liking it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh, she's doing it just to like, the whole
just to piss off her parents.
The rebellion thing. Mm-hmm. The voice actor that I didn't really care for was Finn Wolfhard as Pugsley, which is the kid from Stranger Things. I don't know what it was. I don't know. It just felt blah.
I think that honestly, like Pugsley is just a character that most people don't relate to that much.
Yeah.
So that's really the main reason why I feel like a lot of people never care for Pugsley.
He almost reminds me of like the brother from fucking Bob's Burgers. Like he's just.
Oh yeah, but I like him. I like the Bob's Burgers one.
But you can't really like relate. It's just kind of like.
And it's not that I don't like Pugsley. it's hard to relate to Pugsley.
Yeah, he's pretty plain. Kind of.
Well, I guess if you want to call him that, but
as far as an Addams family,
he's just kind of, even though I think he's just more of a like support character for Wednesday, if you think about it, because here's the other thing too, in the show, Pugsley is the eldest. So Wednesday's the youngest, and they always had that banter. They never not had that banter between each other, but in the movies and including the CG one, Wednesday's always the oldest, kind of like picking on her younger brother, blah blah blah. And
hey, let me test out this crossbow. Stand still. And he's like, okay.
Yeah, he's kind of like a support character towards her. In the show, the children really weren't the main.
It's also because of child laws.
Of child laws, of course.
They couldn't film as many episodes as the other ones.
No, but they were definitely there and funny and cute in their own way. But they were definitely not the main. You know how everyone like loves Wednesday. Yeah,
it's also because Wednesday is the main. Wednesday and Fester are the main focus of the two movies. If you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. But in the show, it's really more about the whole family as a whole. Like it has a nice balance, but it's definitely
the main three.
The mains are always going to be Gomez and Morticia, and then support with the other characters like Fester and all that stuff. But it's obviously because, of course, there's child laws. But I think it's also because what were you going to do with children back then? You know what I mean? Like child actors back then, it just wasn't the same as what it is now.
And what could you have gotten away with in the 60s of the kids doing? So they probably just did simple stuff like her chopping off the heads of the dolls.
Yep.
But nothing too crazy.
Nope. They never really did anything too crazy. I mean, if anything... he did crazier stuff because he's a boy. He could get away with it more.
And maybe in the comics they went that route, but you and me we're not familiar with the comics. So
no, I'm not that familiar.
From what I hear, they're pretty like out there, kind of like how the movie went. From what I've heard.
I don't know.
So I should look those up. Oh yeah. So one of the funny little it's pretty much kind of a half-assed origin, but they kind of gave Lurch an origin. Sort of.
Oh yeah, that was interesting.
That was weird. I'm like, oh cool, they're gonna get into this, and it was like done in 5 seconds.
He was just in an insane asylum.
Yeah,
criminally insane.
They're criminally insane. They hit him with a car, and they go, yes, we hit somebody, and they got all excited that they hit somebody, which is again the morbid humor that I was like, oh, it's here, and then they're like, all right, here's our bags, and join us, and now you're our butler for life, and I was just like, oh, okay, this is how we're going with it, but it was still pretty funny.
Yeah.
Thing. I liked how they kind of added Thing. They gave Thing like a smartwatch, so you can kind of see his eyeball.
Oh yeah, that was kind of strange.
I know. I was like, this is a little 21st century, but okay, you know, you got.
But it was like useless because I think they got rid of it after like half of the movie.
Maybe I only saw it.
It was just kind of strange.
Yeah, I did see it like once or twice. Okay, so one of the main plots of this was the kind of like that reality show of the home makeovers and how they want to make over, you know, the Addams Family house, making them seem like the weird ones and conform to the normal of society, the normalcy of the society. And there's even that like parody like song, like it was almost like the everything is awesome, but it was like the everything is normal, like that type of thing, you know? I don't remember how it went, but it was just plain Jane. So just the message behind the movie was good.
It was like a weird fusion. The villain was like a weird fusion of the guy who fixes houses, Ryan something.
Yes, exactly.
And
what do you think?
Martha Stewart.
Oh, I could see the
Martha
Martha
Stewart. It was like a mix of both of those things, but in a psycho way.
Right.
Obviously.
Like the whole
in a villain
Tom
way. Yeah.
Yeah. Peeping Tom, the whole big brother, like, hey, I'm watching you. You're not normal. You're doing weird stuff. And I liked how they brought up a good point in the movie there. It's like everyone is weird in their own way, where they kind of showed, even though they kind of spied on them and saw that everyone did, like one chick freezes her underwear and stuff like that. Like it's just pretty much showing that normal isn't real. That doesn't exist. It's just everyone is weird. What is normal? So that was one of the good points of the movie. What is normal exactly, and what is weird? So a very good message. Yeah, overall, I enjoyed it. I just felt that certain parts was familiar territory for me. If I hadn't watched that other movie, maybe I would have enjoyed this one a little bit more. But definitely enjoyable, and I recommend it for kids and family.
And then I will show to my children whenever I have them. And
in the live action one as well.
Yeah, all of them.
Just all the versions. All the versions. Because this is a great comedy in all media. But yeah, that did you want to add anything else? I think that about wraps it up.
Yeah.
We will catch you guys on the next episode.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.